Well, the former Navy fighter pilot, Lieutenant Ryan Graves, joins us now. He was the first active duty pilot to testify before Congress about his squadron's experience with UAPs. He also founded Americans for Safe Aerospace to encourage other pilots to come forward. Lieutenant Graves, good to talk to you once again. Great to have you back on the show. You just heard Joe's report there. You just heard Senator Marco Rubio, the top Republican on the Senate Intelligence Committee, and you make what of it?
Well, I would first initially like to applaud Senator Rubio for making these public statements and for continuing the investigation on these claims. As you said, the National Defense Authorization Act amendments that have come into place seem to lay a framework for getting to the bottom of and investigating these claims that we've recently heard.
Now, you were sort of the icebreaker on this, Ryan. You know, you had seen something flying up at space. You thought, or up when you were a fighter pilot, you didn't think something was right. But I guess there's a difference between that and alien spacecraft, right? Where do you think this goes from here?
Well, I think it's still a very pragmatic issue. We can look at it from the angle of spacecraft, and that's what Senator Marco Rubio is investigating now through those various whistleblowers. And that's a historical investigation that's going on. But pragmatically right now, there are commercial and military aviators that are dealing with this as a safety issue right now. We have to remember that they're seeing these objects both at high altitudes as well as at their altitudes as well as they fly around. And still, we don't have the proper reporting for these pilots to be able to communicate these safety hazards. So I think going forward, there's still more recognition, more removal of the stigma, and still there are some of our frontline operators that don't have the ability to properly communicate or report on these cases even now.
You know, Senator Rubio says there are, and I'm quoting him here, firsthand claims of certain things. What do you think the certain things might be?
Well, I don't know, but we've heard a lot of claims recently from whistleblowers that have come forward. And as we recall, Grusch has said that those are secondhand statements from him. He's reporting on facts through his research, and he's researched through firsthand witnesses. I would imagine some of Grusch's claims come from somewhere, and it's likely these whistleblowers that are communicating to Congress.
You feel any vindication here, Ryan? I mean, as I mentioned, you were the first one to bring this up to Congress. This has kind of gone mainstream now, much in part because of NewsNation's reporting. Any vindication on your end?
I suppose a little bit. We have a lot of work to do, however. At the end of the day, we still don't know what these are. We haven't closed the domain awareness gap, and there's still a lot of awareness to be done, both in the general public as well as on Capitol Hill.
How wide's that gap? When you talk about a domain awareness gap, like how big is it that we're talking about? Is it too big that we might not ever sort of come to a consensus on what's out there?
No, I think we will come to a consensus on that gap, but right now we haven't even perfectly defined the problem, and that in itself is a massive security flaw and gap in our national security. So that is an issue that we need to resolve, and we need to also resolve it as an air safety and also as that science issue. And so I'd like to encourage people that want to go on that fight with us to join us at safeaerospace.org.
You know, you heard the senator there, Ryan, talk about he had heard firsthand, he referenced Navy pilots. I think he was referencing you there.
Well, you know, I'm not the only Navy pilot that's come forward on this conversation. I know for a fact that when I publicly came forward, there were a number of other Navy pilots that also came forward, just not publicly, to confirm some of the story that I was communicating to the Senate Armed Service and Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. And so there are a number of pilots. It's not just me out there. This is happening to thousands of pilots out there. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but I am one of the... Well, certainly, this has been going on for a number of years, at least since 2014, since I became involved, and this is still happening today. Pilots across the country, across the world, are talking about this in their cockpits, you know, in their chats amongst their professionals. It hasn't quite trickled out because there's really no way for them to report that information even now. And that's one of our main goals at American for Safe Aerospace, is to encourage that reporting for pilots so they feel comfortable in sharing.
All right.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.